Alright, we should be going live anytime soon.
Oh, is this episode 34?
34, 36.
34. Well, I'm looking at the one with Ian and Bruce. It says 33.
Alright. It's 34 now. I just saw your post.
I'm still not seeing it.
Live video now.
Oh, no.
Alexis, hi.
Hello. Still not seeing it. Oh, here it is.
It's at the bottom.
Episode 34. Becky. Harris and Josh Martin. All right, guys, I think that's it. As soon as I start seeing video, I'm not really seeing video yet.
Well, I have it taken down.
Well, start it so I can start.
No, it's up. I don't have it. I have the show will begin in 5 minutes.
No, I know. Show video so we can start. We ready? Yes? No?
Yep, we're there.
Okay, guys. Hey, everyone. I can't see us yet, but it's a little delayed on Facebook. So I'll just assume that we are showing, you're not just hearing voices, you're actually seeing us. This is episode 34. Who would have thunk? Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers, episode 34. This is Lola, little star of the show. And then you have, of course, my co-host, Mark Potter. And then my name is JD Glasscock. It is so awesome. I love, we both love doing this and giving spotlight to other artists. That's the main gist out of this. I think the best part about it is we've had many guests who didn't know each other before they were on the show. And then once they were on the show, they actually became friends. And a couple of them, like it's been over a year and they're actually like still good friends and they converse with each other and stuff like that. So that's very beautiful to see. As you know, in this industry, it's usually about networking. So increasing your network is always good. Who do you want to bring on first, Mark?
Let's bring on Becky.
All right, guys. The first up is a really funny gal. She does a lot of comedic skits, talented actress, and a very cool person. Let's bring in Becky Jo Harris. Hey, Becky.
Hello.
Hey. Let's bring in our next guest as well. He's done pretty much everything on that side of it: writing, directing, acting, comedy skits. I think Mark met him on a one of those ninja-like incognito missions he does with his lightsaber. We don't have security clearance to talk about that, but let's bring on Josh Martin. Hey, Josh.
What's happening?
All right. I almost slipped the tongue and I almost started talking about Mark's clandestine meeting with you on his lightsaber wielding mission where you guys met, but I caught myself because I don't want the men in black to show up at my door and have issues. Mark, again, you're like way back there. Like, seriously, dude. You're like a little tiny head.
I'm a little
No,
tiny
not
body.
You, Josh, it's Mark. Mark is like a little tiny blip back there. Hey, do
Bring
you know
your
there was a
head to
couple
us.
episodes where literally Mark spaced it and didn't get his video camera working, and so we had this disembodied voice for like the entire show.
I was the
Hey.
ghost.
Whatever
Yeah.
works.
I was the narrator.
Hey,
Narrators need jobs
Becky,
too.
if you could bring your volume up just a tad.
Yes.
You have kind of a.
How's that?
That's
that
good.
better?
Yeah, you know, when you're doing your comedic stuff, you get loud and energetic, but when you're normal speaking, you have a quiet kind of voice.
No, I'm very quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that quiet, but I've seen a lot of your skits. They're not very quiet.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. And comedy seems to be a mutual thing between you two. You both tend to, I think, gravitate towards that. I always try to. My stuff tends to be obviously I'm a filmmaker, not an actor, but my stuff tends to be heavy, but I always try to throw some comedy in there to alleviate the heaviness, because no one wants to watch a film from point A to point B that's literally heavy all the way through without any kind of so for me, comedy is always a good bridge or good take a breath moments in between the heavy. You guys seem to that seems to be both of your guys' main gist that you like to do. Even in your more serious stuff, Becky, I saw that one with you and another girl, but yet you were still like yelling at some guy because he called you a dyke.
Oh,
And
yes.
and even then you could tell there was a comedic overtone to it. But anyway, so let's get going. Okay, we'll start with Becky since that's who I'm conversing with.
Okay.
What is a project you've done in the last couple of years that you just thought was amazing and cool and we're really proud of?
Oh God, that's so hard to think of. I don't know. I can always I think of like my more recent stuff that I'm doing right now. And right now I'm doing a film called Late Fees.
Wait, stop. You can't do that. I'm going to get to the present stuff.
Oh, come on. Oh,
No,
I
you
can't
got to go
pick.
back.
I can't pick.
Start in the past, then we'll move to the present.
Oh, please don't make me pick.
Just grab one or two that you love, that you thought you were passionate about, that you thought turned out good.
Gosh, you know, one that I really like. I did like a radio DJ for it was a film for Arizona State University. I'm sorry, the dogs are barking in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you?
Can you, Lola? Can you hear that?
Oh.
Huh?
It's a dog that looks exactly like Lola, so
Yeah.
they would get along, I think, maybe. But
Lola's a big love bug. She likes most people.
oh, Bella's not. She would hate her, I think.
Yeah, my last dog was like that. He was a Jack Russell. He would nip and
and
territorial as all get out.
But okay, so yeah, I like the radio DJ I did. I love the films that I've done like kind of characters in, and I always feel like when I do character work, it just feels more natural.
Well, it seems like that is what you are suited for as a character actor.
Yeah.
You're a very expressive face, and you like being very kind of over the top.
As soon as I see a role that, you know, needs some character work, it's like I can picture it right away. Like that radio DJ, I went straight into the audition and I just did exactly how I pictured it. Like, hello and welcome back to, you know, and they just loved it. And then they cast me in it, and it was just really fun. I got to wear a bow tie, you know, some
Well, it's a similar skill sets that you need when you're writing as well. And I've always said that is imagination. You have to see yourself
in it.
Or now from a writing standpoint, you have to see yourself in 20, 30 different people.
Exactly.
And be able to write in that many characters or whatever. But it's the same concept as what an actor does if the actor's good, then when they see a role, they'll be able to immerse themselves in it. And there's a difference between, you know, acting, which is not what you really want to do. It's more about being you in that space.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, most of the brilliant actors are pretty much them in every role they do. I mean, like, and we've talked about this before in past episodes. Gene Hackman is always Gene Hackman.
Yeah,
in
I've
everything
noticed
he
that.
does. And there are very few people that break that mold. I mean, you got like a Dustin Hoffman, or you got like people that can do different, like different style. But most actors are pretty much them. It's just they're so comfortable in them, in the roles that they do, and that people love watching them. and immersing themselves in that thing. Clint Eastwood's pretty much Clint Eastwood in everything he does.
Yeah. And when you see
know,
yourself in it, the dialogue, I feel like, comes so naturally. So when you do audition for it or you do write it, it just comes across great. So
yeah, and that's the hardest thing, I think. I think a lot of times you just kind of have it, because it's the hardest thing to try to teach someone as from an acting standpoint, to not just not act, but actually be themselves, deliver
natural.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Josh? What's something you've done in the last couple of years that you really enjoyed?
Oh, the last couple of years, I've been on the convention scene, the Comic Cons and Pop Cons.
Doing characters?
Awesome.
Or?
No, I've been, appearing as the voice of Majin Buu from Dragon Ball Z.
That's so cool.
So it's has brought it all into perspective, and it's been really cool, because until now, I've just been doing voices and for 20 years, mind you, and not really knowing if anybody's watching it or if anybody cares, or it's in the past 7 years now, it's gotten even more popular than it ever was.
So now you're getting that visceral feedback from people that are fans.
Yes, like people who are now adults that started watching it when they were kids, and they tell you they like it, they grew up with it, it made a difference in their life, they turned their brother on to it, their sister, cousin, and sometimes it got them through these crazy tragic situations that just mind-blowing.
No, that's what art is for, and what makes art beautiful, believe me. The best compliment I ever received was from a girl I didn't even know, and this is back before I did film, where I was doing poetry.
All right.
And she had just caught a gig of mine and bought a little paper Kinko chapbook or whatever. And she came up to me in a bar, and I didn't know her, but she knew me, and then proceeded to tell me she had just finished chemo, and that poetry chapbook had gotten her through it. So to me, that was the best compliment you could receive. And so I hear you. You're getting people with viscerally telling you that it helped them in tight moments or heavy moments or.
Yes, absolutely. And then also that I've gotten people who've told me that on top of that, they were watching the Purple One when I was doing that as my first gig out of acting school. So I was literally their childhood. And now these people have grown up. They loved Barney, and then they went on and loved Dragon Ball Z. And now they're at these conventions, and they bring their children who they turn on to Barney.
Are you saying you were the voice for Barney?
Yes,
no, I was the body talent. I was the body talent.
You were?
Oh, you were in the suit.
Yeah. From 96 to 09, I started on the world tour, Barney's Big Surprise.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I did
That's so cool.
I did the PBS series for one summer, in between legs of the tour, while the TV Barney was in Montreal doing the movie.
Oh
and
God.
then I continued.
They basically stole Dino from Flintstones, right?
No.
No way. No way.
No.
No way.
So I'm older. I didn't watch Barney,
The color scheme, definitely. Well, look, when I got the audition, I just graduated acting school, and I was in comedy troupes, and we did blue, crass, rude, offensive humor on purpose, and live in rock and roll clubs, So, and we did rock and roll comedy. I mean, that's what we named ourselves.
Believe me, I was in a band, dude. I've been at gigs where we had comedians.
Yeah, but we were a comedy troupe. We did parody songs and we did sketches, but with a little rock and roll and a lot of edge. It tends
kind of like
anyway.
Tenacious D they used to do.
Totally, the State. If Lonely Island was just a comedy troupe back in the day before they were big, that would be us as well. But I that wasn't on my radar. I wasn't about, I was way too cool for school. But after getting involved with it, wow, all of a sudden I was on the world tour, And in addition to doing this giant stage show in arenas everywhere with the largest rock and roll concert producer at the time, if not still and ever, Jake Berry, and then all the roadies from tours like Tina Turner, Marilyn Manson, Metallica,
And they're all over there doing Barney.
and now they're roadieing because Jake, he got contacted from Barney, and Jake was like, all right, I need my 18. And so we went through and he picked these guys. He's like, all right, look, I need you to do this. And, everyone, even as apprehensive as they were, because they were coming from rock and roll, they'll all be honest with you. They were apprehensive about it. But at the same time, they immediately said yes, because Jake asked them to do it. They knew Jake wouldn't.
Well, that's how relationships are, especially in music and film, are very tied very closely. But they're
every one of them now.
But both of them work the same way in that way. It's really, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. But it comes down to who you know and who knows you. And
yes, there's all of that, and you have to be able to produce. So you got to give and take there. But in addition to doing that tour, we did a hospital visit in every city that we were in.
Oh.
So now the punk kid who's doing the tour and was too cool for school, and now he's sweating. Now I'm going to hospitals every time and not only are kids not able to, leave and stuff, and some never would, but they dug it when we came. It wasn't just like, oh, okay, somebody's here to visit me because I'm in a hospital. It was all of a sudden we had people who spoke for the first time,
very beautiful.
Yeah, crazy. And I was a part of Make-A-Wish.
Wow.
Very cool.
Things like that. So, it transcended anything that I'd ever thought possible, and I was just lucky to be a part of it.
That is very, very cool, man.
Wow.
It
and it's always beautiful to see that not only can you make a living at something, but also give back at the same time. So it's always
super fortunate.
Yeah. So Becky, okay, now we'll get to the present.
Yeah.
Becky, what is a present? What is a present gig you are in love with? It's got your Johnson.
Okay. So that film Late Fees, it's on hold. I don't know for how long, right now, but I mean,
Late Fees as in library, or?
Oh, well, it's called Late Fees, and it's about a brother and sister who inherited a video store. It's based in the 90s, and they I don't know, they get involved in some nefarious
Was
stuff.
Tarantino working there at the same time, or?
Oh yeah. He's actually in it. He makes a cameo. I'm just kidding. Oh God, that'd be great.
No, although I think he was more in the late 70s, I think, working in a video store.
Oh, yes, that's right. I forgot about that. So that and speaking of voice work, I did get to do some voices for a gaming app. I didn't realize how popular the gaming app was. It's by Platonic Games, and they did like a really cool kawaii game like a year ago. And then I just auditioned for it randomly, and I got to do that. So now I'm like addicted. Awesome. I really want to do voiceover work. Like I'd been doing it for the last like year and a half, but more commercials. But doing characters is really fun. So that's coming out.
I really wanted to get paid to be able to dance in my sumo thong under a disco ball, but so far no one has taken me up on that.
But why?
I don't know. I have the lead actress in my upcoming feature. She put a video up of because she's a good-looking girl, and curvy. So she put a video up because she's got like, I don't know, 500,000 followers on YouTube or whatever. So that's what she's got to do, is put up videos of her dancing sexy or whatever. And I didn't understand it. I thought just the dance moves itself are what we're selling. And so I did the same dance moves scantily clothed, and it didn't have the same success. I was like, what is up?
It's ridiculous.
Now we're talking about Vicky, Mark. And I'm like, Vicky, I did that same stuff and it didn't work, man.
Oh, prejudice. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. It's just sexist.
It's sexist, and that's just how the world is. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Awful.
So you're the Late Fees. You're This is about you owning a video store, and what's the rest of the theme to it?
Well, I apparently their dad was just mixed up in one of their what okay, it's kind of confusing, but the dad had a friend who would, if someone had late fees, he would just go and kill them. Just like, hey, you owe this much.
So this is
and
a
then
horror.
That's it. Well, it's kind of like reminds me of kind of Coen Brother-esque, kind of like just dark humor, very dark humor. But I don't know. I just like the character. Her name's Grace, and
This is
she's
a
just
shorter
very-
feature.
It's a feature. It's a feature. There's that one. Gosh, what else?
I don't know. The Coen Brothers can just get straight up dark. I don't know if there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of comedy in like
Oh no, there's so much.
the
fun.
Old Man,
Oh,
or whatever. No Country for Old Men.
yeah, that's not really funny.
I didn't see the part.
But they made one of the best comedies I've ever seen, which is Big Lebowski.
Oh, The Big Lebowski, Fargo. Have you ever seen Barton Fink? That's a fun one.
No, for me, they're very hit and miss. Like I snoozed through 30 minutes of Fargo and I had to shut it off. I couldn't
What?
watch that.
No.
Oh, brother.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
brother,
brother.
where art thou? That was another
Mhm.
one that was literally like a snooze fest for me, man.
Oh, I love
mean,
music.
because I mean, sometimes I think it's when they start. I have a lot of trouble with the really slow-paced character studies,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
give me a second.
which is sometimes what they do, and then they turn around and
Yeah.
make Big Lebowski and No Country for Old Men, and those
Oh,
are very
those rule.
kinetic and fast-paced and moving,
Yeah.
and I love those. And then they'll
I
do
do
stuff
like
like Fargo or Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And then I'm like,
Meander.
oh my God, dude, like nothing is happening for like 8 minutes, man. I can't handle this.
I think just as an actor on Oh Brother, I wanted one of those parts.
The
Just one of
only
those
scene in
parts.
that movie I thought was somewhat interesting was when they saw the what was it, the sirens or the whatever it was, and the
No question. That's a beautiful scene too.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then
and I thought
using
it was
Alison
beautiful, and
Krauss
it was avant-garde and kind of weird and strange.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I love that scene.
It was
too.
almost like a Lynch moment for them or something like that, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, so how much of this did you get shot, Becky, before they closed it up?
Oh
Yeah.
god. I'd say maybe like a half of it. And
Mm.
so we were gonna finish a lot of it the last 2-3 months just because it was the rest of the shots are in different establishments and they had to close down. So we're just gonna
Yeah,
kind
that must
of-
have cost them a pretty penny though, because you usually
Oh,
have
yeah.
secured your locations and
well,
put
pretty
deposits
nice.
on locations and
Well, these locations, I mean, they're kind of like these mom and pop kind of places. So I think they were just kind of like, like, hey, could we use your place hypothetically these days? And then, so hopefully they didn't lose any money. But yeah, there's just a damn. So that's why I'm happy I got into kind of the voiceover stuff like the last 2 years.
yeah,
That
that is
way-
certainly something you can do
No.
from home.
Yeah. So I've been doing
Doubt.
commercial stuff, and then
My
the
friend did that for a while, but he did audiobooks.
I did audiobooks first. That's how I got my it's called a dry demo where you don't have like any music or anything underneath it. You just have your audio. And I submitted that to a website called The Voice Realm and they accepted me. And now that's where I get all my kind of gigs.
I think
Pretty
Mark
nice.
tried to do that, but for some reason they didn't like his demo because he thought they would really dig it if he just breathed really heavily into a mic for 10 minutes. And, I was like, and they were like, no, man, there's not enough dynamics there.
Again, that's a shame, Mark. That's just
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I
Very
would hire
skilled
you
and
on the
talented. I
spot.
don't know, Mark. I mean, between you breathing heavy and me under a disco ball and a sumo thong, I don't know.
Hey,
how
I
you're
would
not
be
getting
your
this
I would be your
opportunity.
effects.
Yeah, I would overlay that sound
Yeah.
on the image. That'd be great.
Yeah, he could just be breathing heavy, and then we could sell it to the Twink Society.
You might make a lot of money. You don't know.
Yeah,
You don't know if you don't try.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I hear you. So let's go over to Josh. Josh, what is a current project that you have going on that you're very excited about?
I am working on a solo music project. Yet to be named, hip hop influence. Basically taking the some hip hop hits and taking the original music and doing the hip hop song, the hip hop lyrics on top of the original
So
instrumental
kind of doing a white
melodic.
man rap version of Weird Al Yankovic or what?
No. Like let's say Foster Silver's Misdemeanor was used by the DOC to redo Funky Enough. And so instead of just taking that little loop that they got from Funky Enough, from Misdemeanor, we're going to do the whole Misdemeanor song, but I'm going to do the DOC's lyrics on top of it. It's funky.
Cool.
And then, yeah.
I'm
also in a.
How do you go about all the rights though to all that stuff?
Oh, we're just doing it live right now. Well, as live as we can be. That was the idea before all
So
everything
like YouTube
came to a
stuff like
halt.
that.
Well, things are changing, should I say? Yeah, we're gonna try to get back live. We're gonna try to get back
There's
on
a thing
stage
on
at
this
live
group
events.
on Facebook I belong to. That's all they've been talking about is how to go back, get the industry open back up, and
Yes.
how it's going to change.
Yes.
I try to steer clear of that group right now because there's just a lot of arguing.
Yes,
And I'm
as well.
Because you have a lot of union and Teamsters in there that are like.
Well, my thing is,
the
I'm just
industry's
gonna.
using it as an excuse to like.
A lot of people are using it as
shitty contracts for like.
Yeah, a lot of people are using it for a lot of excuses, but I think that the people that will succeed out of all this are the people that don't make excuses and go ahead and say, I'm gonna make a reason that I'm going to succeed in spite of all the other stuff that's going on. I know that that's not easy for everyone. I know that that's super difficult, and some of those resources and abilities have just been yanked out from under them. But I'm here to tell you, as an actor, I've been $0, -dollars, and no food in sight. And I've worn out all of my welcomes on everyone's couches, the whole 9 yards. But do it. This is gonna
I'm right there with you,
go
man.
right
I've been the same impoverished guy for 30 years of chasing writing and doing all that stuff and never giving in and always pursuing. But I'm right there with them as well. But, we were supposed to shoot our feature, my first major feature at the end of this year, and it's still happening, but it's all been pushed back because of this stuff. So
totally. All of my conventions are gone.
Oh.
Like not just like they've been postponed, they've been rescheduled.
No.
Gone. You know how many people come to conventions? Yeah, right.
My friend Andrew's a wrestler, man. And he also does the convention stuff.
Right. That's right.
And all of it's gone. Like literally all the wrestling events he was booked on. They were going to go to Cuba, which he was actually producing himself to do a wrestling event there. And he'd already gone through all the paperwork and all that, like the visas and all that kind of stuff. And literally when this happened and it all got shut down. And
ridiculous.
But it's good. You know what? Life teaches, man. So it's.
That's it. It's gonna keep going regardless. What are you gonna do? I can gripe about it.
Lessons.
I can gripe about it, and I might need to, but there's a time and place for it. And that's it.
More
I'm
in
gonna try to,
as opposed to just putting your hard hat on and putting your head down.
You're at least going to be going forward. I don't know. There's something to be said for smart work versus hard work. I think sometimes the best thing to do is try to balance those and use the best of both worlds. If you can work smarter and not harder, good for you. But I'm from the country, and there's a lot to be said for a little elbow grease. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Yeah. So really your main thing right now is your music is what you're focusing
on. Yeah. I'm still doing all my voiceover auditions and still go in whenever they need me. But really what I'm really excited about is doing some music stuff.
Nice.
Very cool, man. That is awesome, dude. And you also had a lot of other lessons laid in there, which is always putting your head down, keep working, keep putting effort out. No matter what life throws at you, if you really believe in your own dream,
I want to get on that camera.
You gotta keep that belief and faith and keep stepping.
Right. Yes. And I'm going to keep that faith and keep stepping towards that on camera thing. I do some, some independent films as much as possible. I do my own music videos for myself, so, I'm not going to stop. Pandemic, fired.
Well, should you? Yeah.
There's
and
stuff,
especially with internet nowadays, that's actually a feasible thing.
Exactly. Y'all are stuck with me. I'm sorry. Whether you like it or not, you're stuck with me.
Well, yeah, I mean, 30 years ago, if this had happened, there would be no other avenues. You know what I mean?
No question, right? Yes, sir. Yeah, you're exactly right. I've thought about that.
People that don't shoot film all of a sudden throwing up videos of their family doing skits or their
There's the
just because they're going stir crazy, so they're trying to figure out something to do.
I can't imagine being back in the day without cameras and stuff, being a comedy troupe and waiting tables and everything just stops.
Oh,
I mean, that's all we did.
No, that's all I've done all my life, man. Waiting tables while I did music and did film. The only time I didn't do that was the 8 years I was in LA working as a stand-in and union background and stuff like that. So
cool.
I hear you. I'm right there with you. And most artists gravitate towards restaurant bars because you can work 25 hours a week, still make enough money and still have enough time to be able to pursue your art.
It's the cliche. Oh, you're an actor. Which restaurant?
Yeah. Yeah. What restaurant you work for? So definitely. Okay. So let's jump back to Becky. What is a project that you want to do in the next 2 years that's on your plate that you're excited about?
That I want to do, that I'm kind of like.
Either you're committed to it already or it's something you want to do and put together or...
I don't know. I think mainly in the next 2 years, I'd like to, have an agent in a bigger market like LA or I don't know, and book a role on some type of television feature film. I
had an agent in LA. I frustrated him a lot because even though I had an agent and I was SAG, I wasn't really interested in being an actor. So about half of the auditions he got for me, I would decline.
Well, okay.
And but he's a great guy. His name's Jeff Wolfman. And I can maybe see if I can hook you up with him because he used to give me a lot of auditions. So
yeah, that'd be wonderful. Well, I want to go on those auditions. I'll take yours.
Yeah.
Well, and I was a guy that, like, if I had a gig booked as a background already, and he sent me an audition the day before, I was one of those guys that always hold to my word and say, hey, I already have this background gig booked. I'm not going to just, unlike a lot of actors who would just flake on the background gig and go through the audition.
It's so hard.
Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Because for the brief time I was in LA, like 2 months ago, it was the worst timing you could ever have to decide to pursue your dreams and move. Like literally the worst.
Yeah, that is a trippy thing. Right when you decide to move to LA is right.
It'll be great in my future book.
Right.
I'll put that in there.
Yeah, you can totally actually do a whole script on that, probably.
Yeah, right. I should a good like kind of comedy kind of.
I mean, you would have to ad lib, like then you would have to like what you do to survive, and you could like you dressed up as an Arabic guy to try to work at 7-Eleven, and then you like and
just kind of heighten it like a ton.
I mean, like go over the top, like comedic.
I love it.
Write it down now so you don't forget it.
Yes. Yeah, no. But while I was out there and like the last couple of years, I did the kind of background work out there. I was where did you get
learn a lot doing that? It puts you on professional sets. It puts you into meeting some of the best ADs, directors, film crew in the industry. So I mean,
you see how it's done, and
well, and it teaches you set etiquette. It teaches you how a set works, how because that's different. Usually, a lot different than how an indie set works.
Yes, yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? So it's a good thing to learn. When I moved to Texas, and the first few people I was dealing with on short films I was shooting, like none of these people, they all thought their experience in the indie world shows them how all sets work. Like they don't get that.
No.
I was just like, no, man, that's not how.
Yeah. You can't just go straight into something. You have to go through a couple of channels, and like it's
Well, and just I mean, and you got to respect each other's boundaries. Like, especially when you're on a union set, man, you touch something that's like some other. I remember as a stand-in, I touched the tape on the ground to move it.
Oh no!
And the camera, the camera grip guy, man, almost went ballistic. He's like, "You don't touch that." Blah 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 blah.
You touched a mark.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little stuff that it's great learning in background. So
yeah.
And you can learn how to do amazing crosses.
Oh yes, yeah. Figure out.
Do a white, do a cross, do a.
Yeah.
I always loved it when an AD would like, "Oh man, you just did a great cross." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you. I learned to walk as a child. I appreciate it."
It's easy for me. It comes naturally. Yeah.
No, I hear you. So, any other things you want coming up that you're focused on?
Gosh.
Besides getting an agent.
I don't know. Besides getting an agent.
And I will hit me up when when we're done, and I'll give you his email, Jeff Wolfman's email, and I'll email him as well.
Wow, I appreciate that. That'd be awesome.
Well, that'd be up to you after that. I mean, you gotta convince them.
I gotta actually type out the email. It's the I have such bad like social anxiety when it comes to like typing out emails, calling, and whatnot. It just like
well, you can make them a little video skit. You like those, and you
I can do. I can do that. I can do like a character, like please hire me, and then so that could work. But yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, so besides the agent thing, what else would you like to do?
What I had set up an audition with the Groundlings. I mean, it's a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's hard to get into," but it's like, why not just at least audition?
No, I think you would fit good. Your skits is exactly the style of thing they do.
It's character work. I'm gonna as soon as it. Oh, God, I had it. Like I had the audition.
Josh would probably love your skits if he hasn't seen them already.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of them on her Facebook page, man.
Yes. I
actually have.
Like every 5 minutes, she's making a new skit, man.
Yeah.
I actually have it ready to go.
Oh, this is a demo of like my recent characters, and the first one is it's called Let's Go. It's that radio DJ.
Well, we're almost at the break, so we'll put that on during the break. We'll have that run while we're on break.
Okay.
Yeah, but
and then you have something from Josh as well.
No. Because all I have.
Josh, how come what happened to the video you showed me of you doing those mud wrestling with the midgets?
Hey.
Yeah,
we don't talk about that. We don't talk about Underground Fight Club.
What happened to that agreement we signed earlier?
The NDA.
Where we weren't going to talk about anything like mud wrestling or any fictitious ideas you might come up with.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Josh, I forgot to tell you. Make sure you wear your sumo thong.
Okay, so we'll show.
Who says I don't already wear it?
You'll have to excuse me for coughing, guys. Usually, when you have liquid go down the wrong pipe, it's from drinking water. But earlier, like 10 minutes ago, I had my own saliva go down the wrong pipe, and that was like,
oh no!
I'm like, that's a rarity. Okay,
that's level.
Yeah. Anyway, I should develop that skill or something. Like, take it to like Guinness Book. How many times can you swallow your own saliva?
All day.
Thanks for sharing.
Anyway, so let's move on to Josh. Josh, what is a project you would like to do in the next couple of years that you're passionate about?
Oh wow, man! You know what? I just want to keep doing it. I love acting and I love performing, and I just want to keep doing it. I'm just gonna. I don't have anything specific. I'm sorry. I'm in a Beastie Boys tribute band that I've been in for the past 11 years. I don't plan on stopping that, unless they keep making us stop. Anyway, didn't think that one out. Yeah. I have a wife. I have a wife and children. They're still in school, so I have a few years taking care of all of that before they're gone, and some time.
So you don't have
frees
any
up.
projects that you have upcoming you haven't started yet, or?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, no,
There's something
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah. There's stuff I can't talk about them. That's the deal.
Oh.
I was
Oh my
like,
God,
yeah, I
security
do.
clearance.
No, I can't. Yeah, no, I
Oh,
can't.
shoot. Oh gosh, dang it.
Those darn
Yeah,
NDAs.
just my music, just my music and auditions.
That's one of the hardest things to do, man. It's like my producers asked me to not, for now 8 months, 9 months, not really try not to talk about my feature. And it's my feature. I wrote it, and I'm going to be directing it. And literally, that's why I've thrown excerpts from other scripts of mine or whatever when I'm trying to share writing up on my page. But I'm not allowed to talk. She doesn't want me talking about it or throwing up excerpts from it or any of that stuff. So I get it, man. For 8 months,
it's tough.
now,
I'm sorry.
driving me nuts.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific that I can talk about except for my music and just doing life and trying to navigate what's going on right now. I had so many other plans,
Right?
as I'm sure everyone else did. I know everyone
God.
else that did. I'm not in a unique position, but
Jeez.
I really, again, I just wrote a song and did a music video. I haven't ever really done that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it wasn't, I mean, it's not like some
You've never written a
heartfelt.
song? You've done music for a long time, haven't you?
I've not like an original. I've done parodies of other songs, or I've written a comedy song, but I never like went through and did the music. I was in a comedy troupe. I would say, hey, play this, or I need the karaoke version of this, and but I'll go and perform it on stage. Some college kids get drunk, and we'll go home.
See, that's where I actually started. I started as a poet, then a frontman of a band for 10 years, and then film. So
I'm weird. I'm a late bloomer. I do things kind of backwards. I normally do.
You're gonna bring all of that.
I'm so fortunate.
That, you know what I mean?
And I've definitely tried to, and I've tried to keep that in mind. And like, in the past, I've thought about, wow, I'd like to do this, but I don't take myself.
No, all things in their time, man.
I'm
like
not
I wouldn't
good enough,
be,
but now I do.
I wouldn't have gotten the
confident.
accolades film writing if I didn't have the decades of poetry and lyric writing, because it allowed me to be different when I got to film writing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So same thing. You're going to bring all that comedy troupe stuff, all that, everything into your music, and it's going to be unique because of that.
I'm going to try. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you noticing that. Yeah. That's the idea.
If it's not, then just throw some mud in a big pool.
Right. Yeah. See what happens. Yeah, I'm with you.
Get a couple little people.
Hey, listen, I know some little people. I know a lot of little people.
Yeah, I'm friends with several.
From my days in Barney and beyond. So, yeah. Know a lot of little people. We're
in the
partners.
background, in like a dancer cage, you could have Mark in a dress wielding his lightsaber.
Polka dot dress.
Oh. Yeah. We don't want to get shut down.
I don't think we'll get shut down. I just think their mouths are going to be open because they're afraid of.
Okay, now we're getting into like inappropriate stuff, man. Don't talk about mouths being open.
No, I was not going to go inappropriate with it at all.
Mark.
In this pandemic, we're definitely getting shut down with mouths, Agape.
I'm telling you.
I'll make sure to wear.
Take a 5-minute break. We're going to show Becky's skit, whatever Mark's got for you. And then I'm going to be able to take Lola out. And then you guys can go to the bathroom and get a drink. We'll be back in 5. You guys have been watching Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers with amazing guests, Josh Martin and Becky Joe Harris. Of course, with my lightsaber-wielding, dress-wearing Mark Potter. And then, of course, Lola. We will be back in 5. As always, you guys, dream your dream and do.
You're late. Enter.
I found pornography in the kids section.
So what?
Who the fuck you calling a dyke?
Limp dick.
You used to sell me weed back on the day.
I'll kiss you.
I'm happily married, ma'am.
It's like lightning and thunder out there. Lowe saw that and said, I'm not having anything to do with it.
I guess like the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I've had my agent here in AZ, but just doing more like commercial kind of work, and then on my own, getting those short films and indie films.
Right.
But
There you go.
I've only really done like one actual kind of like feature film that was filmed in Tucson,
Okay.
and that's how I got my SAG eligibility.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I want to do voiceovers. Oh, do character voiceover work so bad.
It's fun. It doesn't pay anything.
That's a,
Okay,
like you want to be paid.
so
Commercials are the deal.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
what would be better? A voiceover movie with low production, a low production value, but a high revenue. So,
The last part cut out.
well, so you know how films, their high production value, they have a lot less pay.
Yeah.
Is it opposite with voiceover work? But when it comes to like movies,
Is it high pay with movies for voiceover work? I think.
Did you play your video, man? I didn't see it, Mark.
did
I saw the last bit.
Oh my God, I tried to take Lola out, and she saw the rain and lightning and said, fuck you, man. I'm not going out there.
Yeah.
Lola does not like lightning at all, man. She shakes like a willow branch every time.
So her, it's like a torrential.
That's the one thing I miss about Merlin, my old dog, man. He was a ornery motherfucker, that Jack Russell, but lightning thunder didn't mean shit to him.
Aw. Scary. Scary.
No, I like lightning.
Fireworks.
That's
You know,
actually
that's
stuff
fun.
I like about Texas. I like that it has seasons and then it rains in the spring.
Yeah.
In California, man, holy hell, it would rain like 4 days a year, and it was usually a light sprinkle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
I don't know. I've just been out there for a week and a half. So.
No, it just was like literally heat all the time, and like it literally barely ever rained ever. I mean, I was there 8 years, and I think there was one winter where it rained a bit, but. And then the fires, man. I was in Silmar, man. And there was like 2 different times. In fact, the week I left, where you look up on the ridge and there's flames looking over the ridge, and your car, you come out in the morning and your car would be covered in ash.
That's crazy.
I don't miss any of that shit.
That's insane. It's just like a regular season out there.
Josh,
Fires.
you lived there, didn't you?
No.
You ever lived in LA?
No.
New Orleans. Right?
I was born in Baton Rouge. I grew up
Okay.
in Louisiana.
Oh,
Gotcha.
would you
All right,
ever
are you
move
ready,
to
Mark?
LA?
No, not unless they pay me a lot.
I was actually raised in Orange County, but
Really? Oh,
close
wow.
to Mesa.
oh.
But back then it was way different, man. Back then, people in Orange County didn't like people in LA. People in LA didn't like people in Orange County. It was very Orange County was mostly beach cities, and it was very different. Now there's like a love affair between those two things.
Back
Man,
on.
I would have gotten eaten alive in LA if I would have moved there first from Louisiana.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
didn't know anything. I was 18. I didn't know Ned.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Ned. And I was irresponsible. You know,
You would have gotten nothing done. There's so much partying out there.
if I'd have survived, literally, you know,
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, there are times where, and I was, you know, a little naive country boy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And sometimes I'd run into things, and I didn't know that was a deal. I didn't know it was off or
Problem.
weird or whatever, you know. And,
Oh, God.
and the
Yeah,
next thing you know,
LA.
I'm right in the middle of something that's not good, that I should not be.
That's why I
you know.
don't miss going to living out of bars all the time when I did music, man. Because like almost every bad experience I really had was because I was in a bar.
Yeah.
Typically,
And
how
it
it works.
had nothing to do with me. It was just I was there, and so got caught up in it.
Ugh.
Yeah, drunk people. It's not a good scene. But anyway, hey Mark, are you ready?
We're on.
All this good stuff, and they're missing it.
No, it's actually
I know
on.
they've been seeing it.
They've been watching this?
Yeah.
Mark.
All of that.
I tried
All
to
of
warn y'all.
Okay,
You just
everyone, put
sat
your
there
clothes back on.
silent.
No, they can't see all this. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about what's going on in life. Okay, so there's so much. This is the part I don't. Now, for some of us, for some people, it's brought people together going through this, and increase their empathy, their compassion, all that stuff. And then you have other people where that should be happening. Everybody should be having each other's back in this time, and I'm a big believer in that. You have other people that are just looking for reasons to argue and be mad and angry and all that kind of stuff, which I just don't get. And that a perfect example was the thing I was referencing earlier, where there was that Facebook website for the crew and union and stuff to try to figure out what should change and how to get it back on there. It was like just turning into an argument fest, man. I'm like going, oh my God, guys. Instead of you all helping each other and finding solutions, you guys are like literally just bashing on stuff, man. So my thing is be cautious, be safe, and let's just focus on getting through it. and less on all the critiques of everything and all that kind of stuff. But what are you guys' thoughts on during this time?
We both just exhale. Josh, what do you say?
Wow.
I don't know.
So let's go. This is how life works in mysterious ways. It finds a way, whether we're ready or not, to challenge us and take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what we do, or sometimes in spite of what we do,
Mm-hmm.
it seems. And I think we're seeing that we only have so much control. So I'm not necessarily encouraged that we will, but I'm hoping that we might be better seeing those sorts of viewpoints and taking our time and figuring out what's really important, because so many things have continued to happen just like they normally would.
Yeah.
Regardless of the shutdowns and that sort of thing. Now, that's not to say that things ain't crazy,
Right.
and we need to address that. But therein lies something else, something we need to address, and it's pretty major. It's not just it's kind of polluted in LA, or you know what I mean, or you got some crazy people down south, or whatever it might be. This is like some crazy stuff that's affecting the world. I mean, there's like people in third world countries that are like, we're wearing masks now because we got to do this, you know. So yeah, I think whether we like it or not, it's a test.
Yeah.
Well, to me, two major things. One, it really showcased why we should have universal health care for everybody.
Yeah.
And they're still fighting it. The people in charge are still saying, no, it wouldn't have helped. Man, it would have helped if we had universal health care. There would have been a lot easier to implement all this crap if you had already had one single payer system that you could have utilized to immediately make all this stuff happen, instead of trying to fight against all the red tape from all the different whatever was going on. And then secondly, people should quit fucking with viruses and experimenting on viruses. That would be another good thing. And then thirdly, that trickle down economics for 40 fucking years does not fucking work. Okay, you give money to rich people and they sit on it, or they go and create factories in China. It never trickles down to fucking poor people. And yet they're still trying to push the trickle down. Even in this situation, they're still like more worried about giving money to Wall Street and giant corporations. I know, like that, all that money they went to supposed to go to small businesses, and next thing you know, it all got sucked up by giant corporations.
Well, giant corporations took millions.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it was like 500 million. It was gone in like 2 weeks or a week and a half. By almost all of it went to corporations. But like, to me, those are the three main things. So if anything that if this does is it pushes more of the universal health care, because I do think that should be a human right. If you're sick, to be able to get health care without being bankrupt, or you know what I mean, or it shouldn't be tied to your employment. Secondly, and this is my opinions, and that's okay. If people don't believe, I'm not one of those people that if people don't agree with me, I hate them. I don't believe that at all. Everybody has their own road in life, their own path in life, their own thoughts in life, and that's what makes people beautiful. You don't have to agree with me. It's okay. I'll still love you. As long as you're a good person and not a complete a-hole, I'll still love you. And then stop with the trickle down economics, man. Really, like the 40 years of trickle down economics. It doesn't. It just makes rich people richer and poor people poor. That's all. That's all it does, man. Because if people's wages weren't so low, they might have had some money saved and better been able to handle something like this, as opposed to people just barely subsiding.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always going to have some people that barely subside, but when you have over half your population or more living paycheck to paycheck because they make no fucking money and shit like this happens, you know, I think what did they did some standard like 60% of people, if they had a $400 bill, they wouldn't emergency bill, they wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
think
to me, those are the two big things. If that could change, if the trickle down economics can stop and the we can get some universal health care for people, that to me that would be two things I would love to see change out of this. And then again, more compassion and empathy for each other.
There it is. That's the one, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think somehow, somehow inconsideration took over in the whole situation here. You know, whereas I grew up thinking, you know, everybody put on their powdered wigs and went into the same big room and talked it over and argued like men, and then they came out and they had a decision. And that's how we did it. You know what I mean?
No,
And
I agree with you,
I was really kind of naive to that. I really thought that that's kind
no,
of
and
how
I
it
think
happened
those things are all intertwined.
and then and to find out that that's not how it's going, and then to find out further demonstrated that people haven't been considered. You know, instead of trying to figure out how to take care of everything, they just shut her down. They shut her all down without any consideration. That shutting it down, just like the diner around the corner from me, took 3 days to announce that they would not return, period.
Oh, yeah, I know.
3
Small
days.
businesses. Yeah.
3 days. And they wouldn't know. They didn't even try to file nothing. You know, that was just done. See ya.
Yeah, because small businesses can't, if it's not a giant corporation, they don't have the capital to be able to like
Right.
float
So
themselves like that.
So then that goes backwards to the consideration that could have been taken in preparing for the possibility of this kind of situation. And again, to what you say, again, you know, it could get more specific to all that, but what your last point, consideration and taking care of the fellow.
Empathy and compassion. Yeah.
Thank you. Empathy
And to me, if you had empathy and compassion, you wouldn't be pushing trickle down economics and you would have universal health care. You know what I mean? Like it's the 4 decades now of lack of empathy. Because like during World War II, that brought everybody together. The whole country was brought together under FDR. You know what I mean? Like FDR pretty much got everybody to think American first, people first. Let's focus on, what did he say? His big statement was, the tide raises everybody. You know what I mean? The bringing the tide up raises everybody, not the opposite of trickle down economics where you put money at the top and it somehow trickles down. To me, that was probably my favorite president. He was there's a reason he was elected 4 times by the people.
Well, it seemed like certain things should be off limits for business, you know, and I think you could take into consideration what's happening now. All of a sudden, essential healthcare, everything that was essential, you know what I mean? All of a sudden that made sense, but the things that weren't essential kind of got passed by the wayside. But healthcare shouldn't be a business. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, I'd go to this hospital because they got this, that, and the other thing, and free Oreos when you check in. Well, I'd go over here because they got the brand new 2020 sonogram machine. You know, that what is that? Now, if they got the brand new liposuction or the brand new, you know, all that kind of thing. I think that if it's not about health, I think that kind of thing isn't business. You know what I mean? And then you wouldn't have to
Well, it's
worry
not
about.
that we can't afford it. It's just they make too much damn money the way it is, and so they don't want to change it.
Well, so I'm saying, like, if you want to make a hamburger and you want to put a bunch of crazy stuff on it, you want to charge $30 on it, and 9 million people want to buy it, and all of a sudden you own an island, you got an island, brother. Good for you. But that's a cheeseburger. That's crazy people who want to buy a $30 cheeseburger. Hey, I'm not telling you, you don't have to survive on a $30 cheeseburger, but you gotta survive, and you should have health care. You know, you got to have a house over your head. Everybody gets a house.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just common empathy and compassion that these are people. They're not numbers on a page. They're not some minuscule counting column that you're looking at. You know what I mean? Those are actually real breathing people that have hurts and wants and desires. I had a guy. Okay, so when I started in restaurants, because we were talking about restaurants before, way back when, most restaurants offered insurance. And it wasn't very expensive, and it was pretty good insurance.
Right.
Like when I was young and all that stuff, I remember I had to pay like $30,
right?
40 bucks a month, and there was no insane,
Ridiculous.
what do they call that? With the money you got to pay before you can actually start using it.
Premium.
Premium, or like the what is it called? Where like the first $2,000 you got to pay for, or whatever it is.
Yes.
But it didn't have any of that. It was good insurance.
Oh yeah.
Deductible.
And then all of a sudden, now all of that's gone away. Where like this guy I know, like a year ago, he was a kitchen manager and he got no insurance. His son, being a 12-year-old, fell doing 12-year-old boy things, broke his ribs. They had to take his spleen out, and the guy went bankrupt. It was like $35,000 or something like that.
Yeah, and why? And why? Because somebody charged $500 for an aspirin.
Because there's a system that we have. But I mean, why should someone, because they have a 12-year-old acting like a 12-year-old, their entire life savings is gone and they're bankrupt because their son fell off of a tree?
Okay, so going based on that, charging $500 for an aspirin, which is probably, you know, they talk about no price gouging during the whole coronavirus tiff, and people making a quick buck off of. From what I saw, someone was selling Angel Soft 12-pack as an auction on eBay. Someone bid $7,100 for the 12-pack of Angel Soft.
Well, that guy got there's a couple of those
It
guys
was an
got
auction,
shut
though.
down that were doing that.
It was an auction, so they can't say price gouging. People were price gouging like a 12-pack of Angels. I don't know. I'll do it again. 12-pack of Angel Soft for $79 when you can get it for 12 or 15 bucks.
It's crazy.
But you can have a medical business like a hospital charge emergency room $1,300, to use a needle $750.
It's because they can get away with it. They hike the insurance. It's because it's a game, man. But the thing is we spend more money per capita than any other country on medical. Like literally, I'm talking federal grants we give to hospitals, grants we give to
huge business.
And we're ranked number 27th in the world, like below Zimbabwe as far as medical care.
Wow.
So, you know,
it's business. It shouldn't be a business.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. It should be like the post office or whatever else.
A service.
Yeah, it's run as
a service.
Like Congress should.
And I just, you know, so hopefully these things change. Now, the only thing from trickle down that was ever true was whatever behavior is seen at the top tends to trickle down. So starting in about the 80s, when it just became the in thing for everybody, right when trickle down economics started, was me, F everybody else. And you saw that at the top, everybody on the leaders and all that stuff, they were just, doesn't matter who you screw over, get yours. And then that over 40 years, now the populace has taken on those attributes where they're like, hey, these guys at the top, that's what they're doing. So I'm going to do that too and fuck everybody. And as long as I get mine. Yep. And so that's the only part of any kind of trickle down that I've ever seen is whatever your attributes that your leaders show tends to trickle down to the masses. So if all they see is greed and selfishness and corruption and all of those things, then you're going to have a large part of the masses follow that, unfortunately. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
You know, so I don't know. I hope the like I said, I hope the things that we learn out of this is compassion, empathy, and changing the dynamic of how our country works. Because I forget what philosopher said it. They said your country is only as great as it treats its oldest and its poorest.
Yes, absolutely. No question. No question. Yeah.
So
Becky,
I think
how
we need
about
to
you?
improve in both of those areas.
I don't know. I've just been listening to you guys. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. This is the first time ever that something has affected literally every single person in the world. Like everyone's been affected. So I hope that this, like you all said, leads to compassion, because if it affects you, it affects everybody. I don't know.
And then let's do positive change as opposed to people just, let's look at who to blame or this or that or hate. Like
right.
Instead of looking for hate let's fix things, put our energy into a productive pattern.
So, yeah.
And change stuff. It's like when people, I think our nation's deficit is something like 20 trillion.
$28 trillion.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the trillions.
And most people don't know this. That almost the largest debt holder of American debt is Social Security.
Oh.
They owe Social Security almost $6 trillion.
Wow. Jeez.
Because they've been using it as their personal piggy bank since the 80s.
Wow.
And it's like, so when anyone talks about cutting Social Security, it's like, and saying it's not soluble or whatever, it's like, how about you pay back the $6 trillion and then see how soluble it is? Like my mom just told me she just had her Social Security benefits cut, and I'm like, how are you paid into that? Like, how is that getting cut?
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Like, it's your own money. You paid that money over whatever 40 years of working, 45 years of working.
Right.
And so to me, we got to also fix our voting system so that our votes actually, so there's no more gerrymandering and all the stuff that we deal with, so that they actually work.
Mm-hmm.
That too. All that. I remember in school when I learned about electoral colleges. And I'm kind of a numbers nerd. And I'm not a genius or anything, but I just did the math and I was like, wait a second. So what happens if like everybody voted for this one guy and enough electoral colleges voted for the other guy? Well, the electoral colleges vote.
The problem is that
right.
those people that are the electoral college don't have to reveal how they vote.
Well, this was just junior high. This was a pretty elemental understanding of it, but I just, and he was like,
you're supposed to vote however their constituents vote, but yeah.
Well, the state votes, and they explain. I was like, but okay, but what if? He's like, well, I mean, it's not going to happen. I said, but what if? I mean, you got it says it right here. You could do that. He was like, well, I mean, yeah, it could happen. I was like, this system is flawed. I'm in junior high. I'm a 7th grader, and your system is flawed. And I watched it all the way until the good old election. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait, nope. On second thought. Yeah,
Well, no, I mean, it's like,
and now
like
it's happened
when you talk
twice.
about the Russian interference in 2016. I'm like, what was, you guys keep stopping, you stopped talking about what the interference was. The interference was they released real emails in the DNC showing corruption by Clinton and the DNC against Sanders. That was the Russian interference. You stop talking about what it actually is, and you just keep saying Russian interference. The interference was real emails. They took real emails that were from Clinton to the DNC showing that they were stacking the deck. Like, like if there was no corruption, there would have been, it wouldn't have been an issue.
All the way there, and there's so much corruption. You can't just be like, okay, well, if we clean up this guy or this side.
No, it just
we
it's
got
on
two
both sides, man.
this yeah, and we're way beyond that too. And I think this situation, if I may bring it around, shows us that we have the technology to do a lot of things from the house, including voting and other things. I realize it's a lot. It could be hacked, but so can
The voting machines.
so can so can the voting. So can your IRS filing every year. Everybody does it. You get unemployment checks. You know, all that. I can name a billion things. Sure, there's going to be idiots who hack it, but the odds are that we're not going to be any more screwed up than we are now. I can tell you that. And it would let us say, hey, you know what? I think I would like to vote for these 5 people in my state. And then let's figure out if we'll put 50 people up, and then everybody votes for 50 people.
Well, you would see much higher participation.
Right? We could do it on our computer.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that won't do it because they don't want to stand in line and have to like take off work to go.
Just like now. Yeah, right? Just
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I get there's a lot of people who don't have the internet, and that's fine. I'm not saying you can only vote by the internet.
No, but you could do mail-in ballots.
You can. And because you can, we can vote for more than 2 people. And we don't have to wait, and we don't have to vote for a guy. I don't have to vote for a Democrat just because I want a Democrat in office, or vice versa, or whomever. You know what I mean? I don't have to, you know.
Well, they've been keeping it like it is for a long time to try to keep it a 2-party system because they can control that.
Of course.
Well, right.
They can manipulate it. They can control it. They can, you know what I mean?
It's 2020. American Idol has been on for 20 years. Wow. We can do this. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, do you know that we are the only major nation that only has 2 parties? Like every other major nation has like 4, 5, 6, 7 parties.
But if we added a trilateral system, including the independent party.
Well, do you know there's more independents than there is either Democrats or Republicans? There's like something like 60% of the 60% of the population calls themselves an independent.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got right-wing independents and left-wing independents.
Do you know how many apps there are available on my phone? I can get all of them, but only pick a few of them. I can get any of them. It's all accessible. Everybody can get them, I think. I think that you can give plenty of options, and you don't have to. It's the same in your local place about, okay, should we or should we not pass this proclamation that is 8 pages long and has 37,000 different parts of it, and you're telling me yes or no. Well, wait a second. Okay, if I vote yes, then what does that mean? It happens all the time. I hate that.
Okay, well, because they don't talk about all the little tiny things they wrote into it. And
do you want a tax passed? Yes or no? Well, if I say yes, that makes my taxes go up. Yeah, but it gives you all this other stuff that on the dollar you're paying a penny, you know, or vice versa. You know, it's never super clear. But if you just say, okay, hey, we've got this thing and we've got about 37 different things that go with it. Let's start with number one. You know, you don't want to get involved? Don't get involved. I don't give a rip. But we've got the technology to give people the option to get involved. And I know that we have a lot of
if you go
technology.
on, you can just read it all, and
I know we have a lot of technology that people don't access now. They don't even know about it. I get that. But I think that this pandemic has shown a lot of people, look at what we're doing right now. We are Zooming with 5 people, right? There's 5 of
Yeah.
us?
4.
4.
4. Thank you. See?
no, Mark just thinks he's special.
Thank,
so he
okay,
gets
thanks.
squares.
I get 2.
See, I'm counting the 4 people over here and then the 1 person in here. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Mark has 2 squares.
But you know, I can record from my house. Whereas before they were like, well, do you have a studio? Do you have this and that and the other thing? And now they're like, all right, we need to get this done.
Well, and then also you
Can you get a
audition
quiet
for
place?
something that's in another state now.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
you can audition for it, no problem. It's about recording it. Now all of a sudden they're like, okay, we have to get this recorded. Can you get me a quiet enough signal? Yes, I can. Okay, great. And now they're producing entire dubs of series or of an episode of a series in anime in houses all over the Metroplex right now.
Yeah.
You know,
It's cool.
in addition to all of the other things, Jimmy Fallon and all the guys continue to produce their multi-million-dollar. I'm sure you're well aware of all that stuff. You know, per night they're able to produce that. I bet some people are thinking a couple of times about, do we really need to spend $1 million? I mean, because how effective are these shows? Obviously, we're all at home watching.
Hey,
or
I
have
was
been
in
at
LA
home, but-
for 8 years, man. I saw so much gross negligence of money
Oh, I
spending.
can't even
that,
imagine.
it was
I bet you have too many stories. Yeah.
No, I mean, like literally, like dude, literally, there was that. What was that? Carter. It ended up the VP of Disney who greenlit it had to resign because of it. What was that one? They were trying. It was their version of Avatar. It was called something Carter, and they spent
John
over
Carter?
$300 million on it.
What was
dude.
it, Mark?
John Carter.
John Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, and they spent over $300 million
Right.
on creating it. But then you find out that they were all like they housed the entire everybody at like 5-star hotels. They were serving like lobster to everybody. They were like, I mean, like literally the blowing of money, and then producers all put their hands in it and were skimming off the top, and
I would say about
like
5%.
literally, and that movie didn't even make half of it back. And I mean, I don't know any film unless you are doing a 30-hour film that should ever cost $300 million. I mean, that to me is just. But now that's a macrocosm. Even in my micro, when I was standing in on TV shows, the amount of money they were blowing all the time, I was like, holy hell, man! Like literally, they're spending it like it was the money their grandmother gave them, like for their birthday, where they didn't earn any of it themselves. They didn't care, and they just blew it like as quick as it went in their pocket. You know what I mean?
It's like when your parents give you $20 to go to the mall.
And and it's gone in seconds, as opposed to if you had to earn it.
Now this is for dinner too, right? And then immediately you see a shirt for $25. It's gone. You're not eating.
That,
I mean, I always
that
spent
new
money
album that
faster
just
when
came
someone
out.
gave it to me than if I had to earn it.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, no
and
doubt.
I always tell filmmakers, treat your investors' money like it's your own, man. Show the same respect to an investor's money. If you want that investor to keep working for you and you want a good reputation, that was how Tarantino, for why Weinstein's, not only because his films were great and they were making a lot of money, but he was renowned for spending 20 million and making it look like 80 million. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he was renowned for always respecting the Weinstein's money. You know what I mean? Like he didn't just blow it. He didn't just he innovated. He kept it like all the costs really far down. I mean, it helped that he was brilliant, so a lot of actors would work really cheap for him.
That
to
doesn't hurt.
just to be in one of his films. You know what I mean?
Right.
But but
Yeah.
still, I mean, I always advocate that, man. Treat people, other people's money like your own, and they'll want to keep working with
No question.
you. Because there's nothing. I saw actors that were decent, but were so greedy and so have an attitude, and no matter who they were, eventually you stop seeing them work because no one wanted to deal with it.
No question.
I remember I worked on I was a regular on what was it called? Belushi was in it. It was about two lawyers in Vegas. And I forget, of course, they shot it in LA on a stage, but
Film.
it was TV series. The Defender.
Oh.
The Defender.
Oh.
It was with the guy, the fat kid from Stand By Me, and what's his name? O'Connell.
Yes. Okay.
And Belushi. And they were about halfway through, and I was like in about every other episode. I was usually a lawyer in the courthouse or whatever.
Oh.
And then they were only about halfway through season 1, and it was doing so well, I got picked up for a season 2. But about 3/4 of the way through, they had gotten so many complaints on Belushi, sexual harassment, like all this stuff. He couldn't keep his hands off background women. He would keep lighting his cigars in the middle of the stage, and the company got a bunch of fines from Warner because they shot at Warner Brothers stages, and you couldn't smoke on set, in the stage, and he kept ignoring him, lighting cigars, but by the end, by about 3/4 of the way through. And it was so sad because the other guy, O'Connell, was super nice guy, super respectful.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Super like good-hearted person.
All right.
And then you had Belushi, who was just kind of a-hole, like whatever. And 3/4 of it through the season, they reneged and removed the second season, like they'd already basically approved, and then shut the whole thing down. Man, it was like.
Just because of Belushi? That's ridiculous. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't even feel that bad about it. No.
No, but have you seen him since then?
Well, now that you say that, though, yeah, I don't think I've.
No, I mean, you can do it for a while. If you're a big enough name, you can do that for a while, and as long as they're still making money, they'll keep dealing with you. But there is a point in time
where it just kind of,
where it's not worth it, and it's not worth dealing with all that crap. And that doesn't just go for actors. I'm sure there's producers, directors, people
Weinstein
that used to be big, and people stopped dealing with them because they were too much of a.
Weinstein got in trouble for sexual harassment.
True, and that guy was huge. That guy was the king of the film industry as far as producers go.
David Spader.
But you can't, behavior is same thing with what's his name, the guy that directed a bunch of the Spider-Mans, I think, or something like that. I forget his name. Not
Raimi?
No, not Raimi.
Not
the other
Raimi?
guy. Or no, X-Men. He was X-Men.
Oh shoot, I can't remember.
But he couldn't keep his hands off young boys, man. So literally, like, he just got pulled. They had hired him for a DC film or something like that, and they yanked him off of it because he had another, like the 20th complaint. But I mean, dude, it doesn't matter who you are, man. Karma. You got to treat people how you want to be treated, man.
You should.
I was on 4 different Eastwood films, and that guy is the paradigm for how you work a set. That guy is so big on respect. Show respect to everybody. He will fire people if he hears them. If he hears an AD disrespecting a background person, that AD will probably not be working there the next day.
Right on.
Because you got to remember, Eastwood came from the total bottom all the way up, man. He was nobody. And in fact, when he was in Hollywood, they said he was too tall. He would never make it. He ended up having to go do the spaghetti westerns in Italy. And so that guy is big on huge, and I am such a fan of the way he runs sets. It's
right on.
And then he also doesn't believe in work. He works like 10-hour, 12-hour days. That's it at the most. He doesn't believe in burning out his crew and his actors.
I have to go charge my laptop. One,
You're
one
good.
second.
We're about to end.
Okay, I have 2% left.
You guys, I want to thank you. It's been an awesome night. This is the first time. I usually don't talk about this kind of stuff. But I felt it was important with everything going on that at least for one episode, we actually tackle some of the heavier stuff. Usually I try to keep it to film and all that kind of stuff. But I thought during this time, it would be one episode to kind of converse about it would be a good thing. So I thank you for participating, and I apologize if at any point in time you were uncomfortable with what we were talking about. But it's been an amazing night. It's been awesome to have you, Becky, and you as well, Josh. Mark, I'm getting disappointed that you're not fixing your lightsaber yet, but he broke it many moons ago on a nighttime ninja foray, and he has still not replaced it. But anyway, I want to thank you both. That you guys are both amazing spirits, talented spirits. If I can ever help you in any way, let me know. Becky, give me till tomorrow, and I'll email Jeff.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh,
and beautiful blessings to both you and all that you do. Like I said, if I can help you in any way, let me know. And then, of course, thank you for Lola being the emotional support animal and who's been shaking my lap for 20 minutes because of the but anyway, love to you both. Thank you all the people that are going to watch this, are watching it, have watched it, will watch it when we put it on YouTube next week. All of those things, blessings to you. You have been watching Stormcrow, Dreamers Talking to Dreamers with Becky Jo Harris, Josh Martin, with the yellow polka dotted dress, lightsaber wielding Mark Potter. And then, of course, me, JD Glasscock. Beautiful blessings. As always, dream and do. Love to y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Much love.